Cheers, this is White Russian. I have two great guests today. They're the co-founders of a social enterprise based in Canada. It's called Tenfed. Kory McLaughlin and Mike Wallis, thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks, Maria.
Thanks for having us.
It's the first time when I have two guests and I don't know where to look, but I will try to spend equal time on each of your faces.
Awesome.
So yeah, you launched Tenfed in 2015. So it's been 6 years now, more than 6 years. Are you still friends with each other?
Yeah, actually, that's a funny question. We were friends for quite a while leading into Tenfed. We had been friends for probably like 12 years before we even started Tenfed, well over 10 years.
Yeah.
Anyways. And this process of building a brand, building a company from scratch, from the ground up, it definitely helps. It's either going to do bad things to the friendship or it's going to strengthen it. Thankfully for us, it's done the latter. We've been through so much together, and just the more we go through together, and the more you overcome challenges, and you've got lots of hurdles to overcome. But as you go through it, you grow as a person, but you also grow as friends as well. You're growing your friendship, and that's very grateful for that, and to have Kory as a business partner. I wouldn't rather be doing it with anyone else.
Yeah, I guess I could touch on it really quickly. Is that, I mean, kind of to Mike's point, when you're going through something like this together, and at the beginning, we're doing it thinking like, oh, the two of us are going to go into this and it'll be very easy and everything's going to work out great. And then the challenges that you get put up against and that you have to go up against together, you really have a choice of whether, you're not always going to agree. You're going to look at things a little bit differently sometimes. And you're going to notice each other's faults and shortcomings without a doubt when you're spending this much time together. And then you have a choice of whether you learn to respect the way that they are, or whether it drives you crazy and you walk the other way. And with Mike and I, we've just gotten to know each other even more through this whole journey. And I think, like Mike said, it's actually strengthened the friendship. And it's helped with the growth of the company to have to go through these challenges together.
That's good to hear. The percentage of job dissatisfaction in North America is quite substantial. A lot of people are stuck in jobs that they simply don't enjoy. Taking a leap of faith while starting something from scratch or starting a new career is extremely difficult. So how were you actually able to do it?
You just described my previous career to a T. It was something that I personally myself, I fell into numerous roles along the way. The last one being in a corporate position at TD Bank. And I really didn't know what I was doing when I got out of school. Like, I didn't really have a game plan. I knew I wanted to, land a good job and be comfortable like most people do. But as time went on, and as I went through these different positions, I started to realize that the corporate world, it wasn't fulfilling for me whatsoever. It was more so me just, I was working really hard. I was climbing that corporate ladder, so to speak. And I just felt like I wasn't fulfilled inside. Even when I would get a promotion or I would switch jobs and get a new role and get a pay raise, it didn't do anything for me inside. And I started to really realize that. And I knew I had to do something different. And ironically, that's right around when Kory and I started chatting about doing something in business together. So the stars aligned in terms of me having a business partner to attempt something with. But for that leap of faith, it was exactly that. It was a leap of faith. A lot of people thought that I was crazy leaving a corporate, a really good paying job. And I was in a pretty good position with TD when I left. And yeah, it was calling. It was like a magnet inside of me. It was like I was being drawn to change paths in my life, and my intuition was screaming that was the way to go. And yeah, I'm glad I did it. I have no regrets. Again, it's come with a lot of challenges along the way, but yeah, talk about the perfect tool for growth personally is starting and growing a business. it really does. It shows you who you are. It's definitely an eye opener. Like Kory said, it's not easy. But yeah, I have absolutely no regrets. I wake up every day and am very grateful to be in the position that I'm in.
Kory?
Yeah, I could. So like when I was in corporate early on when I came out of college, and it was a similar story where I can understand there's so many levels and so many ways of looking at life that, depending on what you want in your life in any given moment, there's different ways to go about it. So sometimes having a job that you don't necessarily really care about or like, but it gives you the financial support that you need to raise a family per se. This is just one example. There is nothing wrong with it. But I was the same as Mike. I was absolutely being called to something else. And I remember going into work in corporate and just being like, why am I doing this? Like, what is the purpose of this? And why am I typing away on this computer all day? Like, what, satisfaction do I really get out of it? And yeah, there was just something bigger. And for me, I knew there was, and I had to make that move. So I just remember for me, I jumped out of the corporate world and started landscaping, built a company for about 7 years. And then luckily enough, Mike and I connected on this. So I sold the company and started doing this. But yeah, it's not easy to leave that comfort zone, especially with the safety, especially maybe when having a family. Like, it's not an easy move, but pushing those limits, breaking down those walls, going through the suffering, going through the pain, you don't realize what's on the other side of that. And it's pretty epic once you start to break those walls down. And then you see the next wall in front of you and you're like, oh shit, here we go. Okay. Anyways, sorry for swearing. Anyway.
No, it's totally fine. And I think you both have such a cool story. And so thank you for sharing this. I'm not going to lie, I'm a skeptic when it comes to life coaches, but you're claiming that an event by Tonny Robbins that you both attended played a big role in the launch of Tenfed. So what was it about his personality or his words that moved you?
I don't know if you've ever seen Tonny speak live, but he's got this way about him. Tonny Robbins was really the first inspirational person that I kind of latched onto. And I was going through his audio programs when I was at TD, and I would do one every evening, and then I would do the homework. Like I was right into it. So I was already down that path, and I believed in what Tonny was saying. That's actually like you said, it was one of the main reasons that started me down the path. It was like the first gate along the way for me. And Tonny's just this guy who he puts this belief in yourself, and really that's really what it comes down to, is do you believe in yourself? And as soon as you start to believe in yourself, then you start to realize that there's an infinite amount of possibilities out there. You can do whatever you want. It's not something, Kory and I use the analogy all the time. When you're in corporate, people say you have to go to work every day, you have to go into the office. And then Tonny says in his book, like, you don't have to go into work every day. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. So it was really it was an eye opener, and it was kind of that bump that we both needed. I think we were to the point when we saw Tonny back in 2013, where we knew we needed to do something, but it was just like, it's one thing to have the knowledge of needing to do something, but it's another thing to apply it and put it into action. And that's kind of what Tonny really helped us do, is that take action, take massive action, is Tonny's words that he uses over and over. And yeah, within 8 months of that seminar, we were well on our road to starting the company which became Tenfed, which is Passion 12, which is basically where we got our traction and where we started and how it all led to where we are today. So yeah, that's Tonny in a nutshell from my perspective.
Yeah, I'll touch on it very briefly. It's just, and I can understand the skepticism when it comes to these things, life coaches, because what does some other individual know about me and what I should do in my life? But it's more the generalization of, like what Mike said, having belief in yourself. And there's little pieces, little breadcrumbs that this guy and many life coaches can give us that can just lead us on the path. They're not gonna fix our life. No one's gonna be able to fix our lives, but they can lead us down a different path and open up different ways of thinking, even if it's just one little lesson. So one of the things that Tony did was got us to go and walk across burning hot coals. And you know, the fear that sits in you when you're standing in front of like 20 feet, 30 feet of, you know, white hot, red hot burning coals, and you're just going to walk across it. You don't really realize that you can do it, but once you do, you're like, okay, that wasn't that hard. And it kind of puts that belief in your mind of, you know, that was very easy. Like, what else can I do? Like, I just walked across fire. Is there something else I could do? What's next? So, you know, I understand the skepticism, but at the same time, I don't think that we should ever put all of our eggs in the basket of this person's going to fix me, but we can listen to what each individual has to say. And some people have a lot of breadcrumbs to offer to guide us down that path. And Tony was a big one for us at the start.
I see. You almost persuaded me that Tony is awesome. I should probably go to one of his events.
Yeah, highly recommended.
Okay. You sell a range of clothing and accessories, and according to your website, 10 nutritious meals are provided for each item sold. So how do you ensure that those meals reach people in need?
So we've been partnered with a charity called Kids Against Hunger Canada since we started. I mentioned that the previous company that we were doing, Passion 12, we were partnering with a different cause every month over month. We eventually switched that to one cause that was near and dear to our hearts, which is hunger. Unfortunately, there's a lot of hungry people in the world, and it's not a problem that's going away anytime soon. So we decided to tackle that. So with this charity, every time we sell an item, we provide enough to this charity for them to provide the 10 meals. They've been doing it for over 20 years now. They've provided millions of meals across the world. And another great thing that we really love about them is that we're a Canadian brand. They're a Canadian charity. They keep at least 1/3 of the food in Canada, and the other 2/3 goes abroad. So they do a great job of kind of distributing the food to where it's needed the most. And we're highly involved with their food packaging process. We do a lot of packaging events with them. So we've seen it all in action. We've been there, you know, as part of the assembly line, shoveling rice into a bag and then sealing the bag and putting it in a box and watching it go off in a truck to certain food distributors across the country. But it's such a great cause, and we're actually going to start a food packaging event ourselves here in Toronto, like a Tenfed focused packaging event, where we're going to work with our charity to provide as many meals as we can and package as many meals as we can in a certain day. But it's so special to be a part of. And when you're in that environment and you're actually part of that team that's packaging the meals, it's you walk out and you can't not have a smile on your face. It's just one of those feel good experiences. And yeah, every time we sell an item, like I said, we donate enough to this charity to provide the 10 meals. So yeah, we know where the food is going. These guys, they're legit, they're the real deal, and they truly do care about everybody and try to help as many people as they can.
Yes, I suppose I could add a little bit to that. Mike really just summarized that very well. But so when we first started, before we became Tenfed, we were actually, we had a different company name, and we would partner with a different charity every single month. And I just think it's a cool story that, you know, we're looking for all these charities to partner with. And we had one that was looking at us saying, hey, like, look at it. We want to partner with you. We want to work with you. We really love you guys. And we thought, this aligns so well. And we decided, let's have a conversation. We really got into it. And that's where Tenfed really was born. It was the focus on one charity. And then going down to meet the people that run the charity, we got to sit with them. We've been able to sit in with their board of directors, sit in on the meetings, and actually get to know their team and understand the process and how it all works. So like Mike said, it's really nice to be part of that and to actually be included in the process and not just be a bystander on the outside, you know, always just doing what we do, like running the business. It's nice to get involved as often as we can. So yeah, we're very thankful to be partnered with them.
It strikes me that you actually care about responsible manufacturing practices and make sure that your clothing is manufactured ethically. Can you please talk a little bit about the REP certification process? Because I had never heard about it until I started preparing for this interview.
Right. Yeah, it's a process that was put in place to just ensure that ethical manufacturing standards are put in place. So the manufacturing facilities would be subject to unannounced audits where people would come in and make sure that they go through the checklist of working conditions, make sure the workers are paid fairly, just make sure that there's nothing going on that shouldn't be, and workers aren't being treated unfairly. And then again, we try to use sustainable fabrics as much as possible. We have a number of different suppliers that we work with worldwide. And it's just something that's been important to us from the get-go. When we started Tenfed, we didn't want to be just another charity t-shirt that, you know, you'd wear a couple times and you buy it for a good cause, and then you just throw it in the bottom of your drawer and it eventually ends up in a Goodwill bin. We didn't want to create a clothing company like that. It was really important to us that we created something sustainable, that was comfortable, that was, you know, stylish at the same time. But it was just something that was at the top of our list when it came to manufacturing our clothing. Was people have to want to wear this stuff. It's not something they're just not buying it just for the cause, and then again it's just kind of thrown off to the wayside. But yeah, and we've stuck with that since we started for 6 years now. And as we continue to grow, we continue to work with other manufacturers, suppliers, and yeah, we've got a great team behind us. We're very grateful for them.
Yeah, Maria, at the beginning, we actually, you know, it took us a little bit. I think like any business, like any human being, there's a process of learning. And when we first started, we didn't really know where to look or how to look. We just didn't really know what we were doing. This was all very new to us. So we were forced to learn very quickly how the industry works and how the production process works. And we didn't start out of the gates the way that we're talking about now. Like, we learned very quickly how important it is that the product is sustainable, that the quality is fantastic, and the manufacturing has to be tight as well with the RAP approved. So these are all things that we had to learn very quickly. And we actually got into doing Canadian made items early on. But also, we realized as a business, we have to try to figure out that balance of how high quality and how high price do we want to go. So you're trying to find the right price range with the right quality, the right practices. There's this massive balance that's going on. But, you know, to your question, it's so important, especially with the way that the world is. We want, you know, basically we want people to suffer less. That is the main reason that we exist. And to be feeding people, amazing. But if we're working with factories that are treating their workers terribly, it's one for the other, and that doesn't work for us. So we're doing the best we can, being as due diligent as possible to make sure that things are being done the right way. And all we could ever say is that we're going to continue to grow and get better at it every day, every week, every month, every year as we go. So, yeah.
I have to ask you a question about money. It always comes to mind when we're talking about social enterprises and charity work. What does money mean to you?
Great question. Money is first off, with running a business, money is an important factor with regards to cash flow. Again, something we learned very quickly, that money is obviously a form of currency and exchange in which we need to operate our business. when I was working in the corporate world, money had a different definition for me than it does now. I was in a pretty high paying position with TD, and money to me was just, it was just something that I needed in my life to buy everything that I thought that I needed. And I fell into that trap kind of like living that, I don't know, that lifestyle where you're constantly wanting more. And as soon as I left that position and I stopped getting a regular paycheck, that certainty instantly went away of having that money coming in every month. And now all of a sudden we realized that we had to scratch tooth and claw for every single dollar that we made as a business. And that's challenging, especially at the very start. And went from certainty to uncertainty almost immediately, but started to realize very quickly that I didn't need as much as I thought I did when I was working corporate. I think life has got much more simple in terms of what I need to survive on, what I want in my life to make me happy. And we're still in a position where we turn most of our revenue over back into our business to continue its growth. So like Kory and I both taken a step back from in terms of what we were bringing in personally, financially. And yeah, it's kind of an eye opener because you realize, you don't really need that much to live on. It's kind of comforting in its own way. Just realizing that, you know what, we can make this work, and we don't need that high paying corporate job in order to buy all the things and all the material items that I once sought out personally. And yeah, it's changed its meaning over the last few years. I love that question. That's fantastic. I've never really thought about it that way, but yeah, it's definitely changed the definition of it for me.
Yeah, Maria, it's a good question. I don't think we've been asked that question in all the years. And yeah, I mean, I'd be echoing Mike quite a bit again, but money to me at this point, it's a byproduct. We've been doing this for 6 years, and there's some months where, we think, oh my God, this is incredible, and we do really well. And then there's a month where we don't do as well, and we're back to being like, oh no, this is going to be very difficult. And I think we both learned to get off of the roller coaster and just enjoy the process of building this, and realizing that the more focused that we are on the growth of ourselves, the growth of the business, and the reason that we're doing this in the first place, which is to help people that are suffering and to create an income for ourselves. When we just focus in on that, the money is a byproduct anyways. The money is something that comes in afterwards. And like what Mike was just saying, the money, I would say when I had my landscaping company and when I worked corporate, I was the same. I was always looking for what can I buy? What's next? What's going to make me happy? It's just not the same anymore. At the beginning, we've gone with basically nothing, next to nothing. And like Mike said, we've had to crawl and scratch our way to where we are. And yet happiness has existed through this regardless, even when we didn't have money. So we realize we don't need a whole lot of money to be happy. As long as the basics are covered, this is really an internal journey, and the money is really nice to have, but it's not the most important part of it. And I'm glad I've learned that lesson.
How can someone start a social enterprise in Canada? What do they need to do?
Another great question. I'd say first off, figure out what's important to you, what's near and dear to your heart, that's going to speak to you and that's going to keep you driven to work at something and build something. There's a lot of, obviously, in the state of the world that we live in today, there's a lot of different areas that need help, that need focus. And it's not always just a matter of, financial help. You don't just throw money at a problem. There's a lot of different directions you can go, but I would always go back to just saying, like, find your why. Like, why are you doing something? Why are you building a business, especially a social enterprise? What's important to you? What do you want to solve? And who do you want to help? And then if you keep those in the back of your mind as you're starting your business, as you're making decisions, as you're growing your company, it becomes much easier, and you're much more inspired to keep going as you tackle those walls and hurdles, because there are going to be lots of challenges, and there are going to be moments where you want to turn around and be like, wow, what did I just get myself into? But if your why is strong enough, you just persevere and you just keep going. And yeah, we found something in tackling hunger that's, like I said, near and dear to our hearts. And it's a cause that just, it motivates us. We know there's tons of people in the world right now that don't know where their next meal is coming from. So, when we're having a bad day, when we're struggling, you always think back to that and think, there's people that don't have a dinner tonight and they don't know where their next meal is coming from. That definitely helps motivate you. So I'd just say, yeah, find out what's important to you and stick to it and go for it.
Yeah, I could say, like, an abstract way of looking at it would be, you don't have to sit there and put pen to paper right away. The experience of life is going to show you a lot. And the more that you go out, look around, and even if it's, searching online or going out and helping at a homeless shelter, or going to a pet sanctuary, like just going to different places and dealing with different types of issues. And as you go out and experience these things and help different causes and put yourself out into the world, be aware that you would like to, if you want to create a social enterprise, be aware of that idea, be aware of that fact, but go out and experience things and see what connects with your heart. Because it's not just about getting things done. It's not just about, I want to help. Let's just do something. Doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. Like Mike said right at the beginning, you're going to want to resonate with whatever that is. You're going to want to feel it. It's got to be real to you, and you've got to connect with it. So all I can say is just go out, experience things, and then whatever makes your heart explode and maybe makes you a little angry, a little passionate, and you want to change something in the world, fix something, and you can really feel it. That's probably your answer. Start there.
We all have been affected by COVID in one way or the other. What has been the biggest challenge while running Tenfed during the pandemic?
When we, our first 4 to 5 years in business, the majority of our sales were done through live event sales. So we would do all sorts of trade shows, markets, festivals. We would say yes to everything. We were on the go pretty much, I would say 40 weekends a year. And then all through December, we would run pop-up shops and outdoor markets. So it was pretty much full on from December 1st all the way to leading up to Christmas Eve. So it was a great way to build the business when we started, and it was a great source of revenue for us. But when COVID hit, all of that went away for us. So it was a unique situation, because you basically take a scenario where you're losing 75% of your revenue stream instantly. So instant shock, but then realizing there's an opportunity that exists here. We were looking to kind of veer out of the event space, not so abruptly, not like right away we were going to drop everything, but we were going to start to veer into starting to build our online channel, starting to build our retail and wholesale channel, as well as our corporate partnership program as well. So how we've really done that online has been, online's a challenge, obviously. So we've been trying to just figure out different ways. We've had a great team behind us again to help support us and teach us how to grow online. But then at the same time, where we've really changed our business is we've been doing a lot of corporate partnerships with companies. And what I mean by that is, like, when a company approaches us and they want to get involved, they want to help, what we're able to do is we provide them with co-branded custom apparel or swag, candles, all sorts of different items, but it's co-branded apparel. They can either give it away as gifts to their customers, their clients, they can sell it. And it allows them to tap into Tenfed and the feeding program of providing 10 meals for every single item sold. So we've really done well with that portion of the business over the last year, especially, and that's something that we want to continue to grow, because it's an area of the business where we can help other businesses provide a social impact, but then it also increases the amount of meals that we're able to provide as well. So really, it's a win-win. The business who we're working with, they win because they're now tied into a social cause where they can give back. We win because we provide more meals, and then we also do a lot of cross promotion. So we'll promote them, we'll promote these partners on our social media platform, and likewise they'll do the same for us. So it really has been a great program for us, and that's something that we really want to continue to build, especially in 2022. And yeah, it's been a bumpy road, obviously, since COVID hit, but just like anything in business, you just have to learn to adapt. It's never going to be the same smooth path that you're used to. You're always encountering challenges and hurdles and different changes. If you can adapt, keep an open mind, and again, just believe in yourself, you can figure it out. And that's kind of what the direction we went. And again, very grateful that we've had the opportunity to grow that, and also learn different aspects in business, just working in all sorts of different channels.
Yeah, Maria, again, just touching on it a little bit, but I always find it interesting, the word in Chinese for crisis and opportunity, it's the same. So it's, we don't have to look at this as being difficult. It is what it is. There's always going to be the polar opposites. It can be easy, it can be difficult, it can be both at the same time. But as soon as COVID hit, yeah, we were shocked. I think just like most people, it kind of hit us like a ton of bricks, but yeah, an opportunity came up and we were able to approach business in a new way. And that may not have happened, especially at the pace that it did. It may not have happened. We might not be where we are today, experiencing new ways of business and expanding in the way that we are online, digitally, partnerships, a little more, I would say a little more hands off, because we're not physically out there killing ourselves every weekend. But yeah, on the other side of it too, there's the personal, when you're on the hamster wheel and you're running as fast as you can, it's just not so easy to stop and jump off. And so for this to have sort of forced us to look at ourselves a little bit more deeply and, slow down. First of all, I should have said that first, we were just forced to slow down and look at things in a different way. And I think that's been one of the most beneficial parts of our business. It's been one of the biggest opportunities that we've ever had. And personally, it's probably been some of the most growth that we've ever had, which in turn not only helps us, but it does help the business. So I look at this as a positive. It might be difficult, it might be challenging, there is suffering going on, but at the same time, how can we become better, and how can we make this opportunity? How can we make an opportunity out of this situation? So I'm pretty thankful for the way things have worked out.
That's great. The world is far from perfect, and some might argue that things are actually getting worse. So my question is, how can someone not lose hope in a seemingly crumbling world?
Oh, it's Kory and I chat about this all the time, but it's all about perspective. It all depends on how you interpret the situation. You can look at it from a negative standpoint, like in other words, you're almost like thinking of yourself as the victim. Or you can look at it as there's a lot of potential for growth and opportunity. And we always try to take the latter of the two. And yeah, there's challenging times. I mean, you can feel the tension and the divide in the world. Sometimes when you go out, even just go out to the grocery store, you can see it in action. And it's something that I don't think we've really ever experienced like to this level, not even close before. But yeah, we always just, we do a lot of personal growth work as well. Like we both meditate regularly. We're constantly feeding our minds with nice, inspiring, information, and it truly it's just about perspective. It's just, you're looking at this as this is fantastic. I'm right where I need to be. The universe has my back, and I know that it's all going to work out. And you just have faith. And if you experience challenges and you think things aren't falling your way, it's all happening for a reason. I know that's such a cliche and it's such a popular saying, but it's so true. It's just, you're exactly where you need to be. And if you constantly believe that, then everything's going to be okay. And you're going to look back on it and say, wow, what an opportunity for growth that was, for everybody, not just us personally, but for everyone. It's an opportunity to grow. And it's keep smiling and just be kind to people. That's what I try to remember every time I go out and interact with people, is that you don't know what other people are going through. So just approach them with empathy and compassion.
So ironically, I just had a conversation with a friend yesterday, and she was saying how one of her clients, after they finished, one of the clients said, "Is there still hope out there for me?" And my friend was telling me this story, and I was listening. And then afterwards, I just said, I was like, if it was me, I would have said, I don't know if there's hope out there for you, but I mean, if you look inside, if you look internally, versus trying to change anything on the outside, we can do whatever we want on the outside. And there is a reason for that. You want to try to help people, and you want to try to change the way that the world is going, however that might look for you. That's all good and well. But at the end of the day, if you don't look inside and look for that hope inside, you're likely not going to find it. You might find hope, and then it will escape you, and then you'll find hope again, and it will escape you if you're looking outside. So yeah, every single human being, not excluding one, there's hope. There always has been, there always will be. And like Mike was saying, it's a matter of perception. It's a matter of perspective. And all we need to do is just realize it. And if you know it, if you realize it, it's one moment at a time. It's one day turns into a week, turns into a month. You slip, you fall, you get up, but you continue to look internally. And there's no question that that's where your peace lies. That's where your freedom lies. That's where opportunity lies. And that's where hope lies. All of it is within. So yeah, without a doubt, yes.
This sounds very encouraging. What are your plans for Tenfed in the next 5 years?
So like I was saying earlier, our corporate partnership program, that's something that we definitely want to expand on. We've also just really been, because we're a Canadian brand, we've been focusing, most of our sales are from Canada. So we definitely want to get down into the US and expand the brand presence down there. We know a lot of people down in the US, and they all say the same thing every time they see the brand, and they're like, wow, you need to get this down here. People will love this. So yeah, we definitely want to expand into that. Like I mentioned earlier, we wanted to start to do food packaging events. So get more of our community involved with what we do with the actual meals side of things. So it's one thing for customers to purchase from us, but it's another thing for them to actually get involved in the action portion of, packaging the meals and being a part of that. We just want to continue to grow our community and be that brand that everybody thinks of when they think of hunger. There's a lot of social enterprises out there where you automatically relate the company to, oh, these guys help with water, or these guys help with planting trees. There's always a direct correlation. We want to be the brand where people mention hunger and they say, oh, that's Tenfed. And I'd say that would be a great place for us to be within the next 5 years. And once we get expanded into the US, I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the answer. What Mike just said. I mean, we're both on the same page on that one. Look, at the end of the day, we've been building this for 6 years. And like Mike said, when it comes to the growth of this company, we want to build community. We want people to be able to look at this and understand what the purpose is behind it. And it doesn't, at the end of the day, really matter if they want to buy something, great, but at least to see it and understand that there's something greater behind all of this. And even if it sparks them to want to do something, like if they want to start a social enterprise because they're inspired by what we do, we just want this to almost become like a symbol of creating change and relieving suffering in the world. We have all of our goals when it comes to financial. We have goals about where the business is going to be. But yeah, I think when you boil all of it down, we just want as many people as possible around the world, like Mike said, to recognize this brand, and whether they're inspired, whether they buy something, we just want them to realize and understand that this concept and this brand is much greater than what you see. It goes so far beyond that, into the passion, into the need or the want to help people around the world.
Kory and Mike, thank you so much for your answers. Let's have a round of quick questions. So what I'm going to do is that I'll ask a short question, and hopefully both of you can provide a quick response. How does that sound?
Cool.
That's awesome. We're just looking for a one word response.
Well, short response for each question.
Okay, gotcha.
There will be more than one question.
Okay.
Favorite social enterprise other than Tenfed?
Tentree.
Same.
Sorry, Mike, can you repeat?
Tentree.
What do they do?
They plant trees around the world with every item that they sell. So they're tackling the environmental issues. Fantastic brand.
Yeah, it's the same. We're inspired by them. So yes.
Thing that you haven't tried yet, but really want to?
Bungee jumping.
Ooh, start our own podcast.
What are you most proud of?
Personal growth, the personal development.
Pursuing happiness.
Speaking about happiness, can you define it?
Whatever makes you feel good inside.
Yeah, same. That's it.
Most hated quality in people?
Selfishness.
Yeah, greed.
Most appreciated quality in people?
Compassion.
Love.
If you meet God when you die, what would you tell him?
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything. I would just look and probably give a nod. That's it.
Mike?
Oh, I said thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I would say thankful. Yes, I'm grateful. Yes.
Okay, Mike and Kory, thank you so much again for your time today. It was a lot of fun to do this interview with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate you having us on.
Best of luck to both of you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Cheers. This is White Russian. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on like. There'll be many more interesting interviews coming up very soon, so stay tuned.